What up, guys? Welcome back to the Football Digest Daily. Here at Football Digest, we eat, sleep, football, and then we repeat. You're mad about football like that. Speaking of which, the Champions League draw is getting done tonight. Alright? Or rather, Kenyan time is going to be 6 p.m. Yes, from 6 p.m. is when it's going to be drawn. And there are lots of questions on how this one is going to draw. First of all, the Champions League anthem has changed. Alright? It's a new anthem. It's the same one with just a few tweaks here and there. Nothing very much different. I think we can honestly and all agree there is an absentee or there is no Manchester United player to be traced anywhere in that video. Yes, none at all. But we can also agree that we have seen Bukayo Saka in there, haven't we? Yes, we have. Anyhow, let's get into the draw, right? Because this one is the one that is confusing a lot of people. First of all, we have 36 teams, right? That has changed from the 32 that we used to have. So. The second thing, this is being called the Champions League phase draw. Alright, initially it used to be called group stage draw. It's now a league phase. So in the first initial stage, it's a league. Alright, and then after that, we'll go to the knockout stages. Alright, so 36 teams, they have been drawn into 4 pots, each pot containing 9 teams that have been ranked according to their coefficient in Europe. That's why you find teams like Leipzig in pot 1, teams like PSG are in pot 1, while teams like Juventus that have won the Champions League before are in pot 2 alongside likes of Arsenal and AC Milan. You know, AC Milan is actually the most successful team in Europe. Well, second after Real Madrid, but they're in pot 2. Alright? Now, that's one of the reasons why that is happening. It's based on the coefficient. Now, this is how it's going to happen, right? Each team is going to be drawn and is going to be playing against 8 teams, 8 opponents. Alright, so we'll be seeing, and those 8 opponents will be 2 teams from each pot. See, like how we said, pot 1 to 4. So let's say Real Madrid, right? It's drawn against 2 teams from pot 1, where we have likes of Liverpool, we have likes of Manchester City, and all these teams with the high coefficient, PSG, Leipzig, and them, man. So Real Madrid can be drawn alongside Liverpool and Manchester City, alright, or let's say alongside Liverpool and maybe PSG. Then they'll pick 2 teams from pot 2, which has likes of Arsenal and AC Milan. Then they'll pick 2 teams from pot 3 and pot 4. And this draw is worth saying from the get-go. It's going to be done manually as well as, what do you call it? Like using an AI or a machine or, a technology, right? So they pick the ball for the first team. Then the machine or the technology or the software or the system that they have picks the other 7 teams. No, the other 8 teams that this team is going to be playing against. Are we together? So they put the ball into the pot, they pick like one pot and say, this team is going to be playing alongside according to the system, right? So 2 teams from each pot. So the team plays 4 home games and 4 away games, all from different opponents. Alright, it's not like, well, I have these 2 opponents that I'll play home and away. No. It's 4 teams you play at home, 4 teams you play at home, and 4 different teams you play away. And then that's, of course, decided by the system. Alright, it's going to say the teams that are going to be playing home and the teams that are going to be playing away. Alright, now no team can face a team from their own country. Like Real Madrid cannot play Barcelona. No, not in this league phase. If you play a team from the same country, you can only play a maximum of 2. So let's say Real Madrid is drawn alongside Arsenal and Manchester City. It cannot be drawn alongside any other English team. You can't have like Real Madrid playing in the league phase, playing Arsenal, Man City, Aston Villa. It cannot happen. You can only face a maximum of 2 teams in this league phase. Alright? So that's how it's going to be done. Apparently, they decided to use a system because they realized if they do it manually, first of all, they will need like 3,000 balls. No, 9,000 balls to do it. And also, if they do it manually, it will take 3 to 4 hours. That's why they integrated the whole system thing that's going to be picking the other opponents and where the teams are going to be playing home and away and all that stuff. All right. So, yes, that's how the draw is going to be done. I don't think I've left out anything worth noting. So, most important thing, a team plays 4 home games, 4 away games from very different opponents, not a repetition of their opponents, right? A team can only face a maximum of 2 teams from each side, from each country. All right. You cannot face a team from your own country. You cannot. So we can't have Manchester City drawing Liverpool and Arsenal, or drawing even Arsenal, or drawing Aston Villa. It cannot happen in this league phase. Cannot happen. Not at all. Alright? So after all that is said and done, you're gonna be having a league phase. So the more you play, the games you play, each game I think entitles you to like 3 points. Yes, like usual. So you play a game, you win, you get 3 points. The goals do matter as well. There's gonna be ranking. Okay, so you have number 1 and number 36, the bottom. So number 1 to number 8, those top 8 teams automatically qualify to the round of 16. All right, then the number 9 to number 24 teams, they qualify to play for the playoffs. All right, so they face each other. I think a draw will be done for that. They play each other in a playoff to get the 8 that will go join the top 8 to play the round of 16. Are we together? And then the other teams that are getting knocked out will join the other bottom 12 that will just go home. All right, from 25 to 36, those 12 teams will just go home automatically. There's no drop down to like Europa League and see what. It's not gonna be happening here. So that format is gonna be applying to the Europa League as well as the Conference League. But the Conference League, apparently, they're gonna be playing 6 teams. Not like this one where they have 8 teams. So the format there is a bit different. To be honest, I'm not really concerned about that. I think Chelsea fans should go and find that out more. So yeah, that's why I'm more concerned with the Champions League. I'm a Champions League material. Yes, so I'm only concerned about the Champions League. So that's how it's going to be going down. That is going to be happening today from 6 p.m. Kenyan time. I think it's going to be at Monaco. In Monaco times, that would be 5 p.m. BST. Yes, so Kenyans should be ready from either 6 or 7 p.m. Just be ready from 6 p.m. That's when the draw is going to be done, all right? So, yeah, I hope you have understood the format. I will go again over it. It's a league phase draw. It's not a Champions League group stage draw, all right? It's the Champions League, of course, will be a league format from now on. The top 8 teams qualify automatically to the round of 16. The other 9 to 24 play a playoff to get the 8 that will join the top 8 to play the round of 16, all right? Teams will be drawn into 4 pots, or have been drawn into 4 pots, each pot containing 9 teams. All right? Each team will be playing 2 teams from each pot. All right? So 2 teams from pot 1, 2 teams from pot 2, 2 teams from pot 3, 2 teams from pot 4. In that, there's going to be 4 home games and 4 away games. All right? Not of the same opponent. Okay? So the manual one will be for the picking of the ball. That's the only manual thing. Generating the opponents, that will be done by the system that they have already in place. And of course, we live in the era of conspiracy theories, so there's going to be a lot of conspiracies. Oh, why is that team playing those 2 teams? They're too easy. Why is he playing those 2 teams? Why not these other ones? Of course, we're going to see that. Expect that to happen. There's going to be a lot of that later this evening or tomorrow, or moving forward anyway. So yeah, what else? You cannot play a team from the same country as yourself. You can only play a maximum of 2 teams from each country. If you are to face a team from each country, you can only play a maximum of 2. You can't do more than that. What else? The draw is expected to take like 35 minutes. And yeah, I think that's all you need to know as far as the Champions League draw is concerned. So it's going to be happening tonight from 6 p.m. And of course, the Champions League is interesting because now you have likes of Aston Villa coming back. We had teams that finished 5th in their leagues, like Bologna. Finished 5th in Serie A, but they are now in the Champions League. And that's going to be the case moving forward, depending on the UEFA coefficients. And this happened only to Italy and Germany. I think Italy and Germany were the top-ranked teams in coefficients, so they got to get 2 teams. They got to get their 5th team in the league going to the Champions League. That's why we have Bologna there. Also, we'll be having likes of VfB Stuttgart. They'll be there, I think, since, is it 2000? You have teams like Brest, their first time in League 1. Their first time in the Champions League, they finished 3rd. So quite an interesting one for sure. There were also qualifiers that were played by the last this week on Tuesday and Wednesday. Likes of Young Boys qualified. And yeah, Young Boys are definitely in pot 3. And teams like Aston Villa that do have European pedigree because they have won the Champions League are in pot 4. So yeah, quite interesting one. So that's what's up. Be on the lookout for it. It's going to be absolutely interesting. You're going to love it. I can't wait to see how that draw is done. As the Arsenal, we are ready. Are you? 10,000 subscribers.